Hey, Justin.
Hey, are you well?
I'm okay, yes.
Right.
Well, last time we spoke about it was part one. Obviously, I think there are going to be many, many parts to this issue about the US-Iran agreement, deal. I don't know how to call it. And today we're continuing.
Great.
Yeah.
You're right about the many parts here.
Yeah, there are going to be many parts. It's like never-ending story. So what would you like to talk about first? Do you want to talk about what's going on today, about the Abraham Accords, how they're connected, about the meeting in Qatar? What's first?
Well, I think maybe if we start off by looking at what happened between Qatar and Iran. I believe that Qatar has a whole lot of assets that are frozen that belong to Iran. And there were some deals that were in the news between for 12 billion. Maybe we can discuss this on. I can maybe read a little bit about this if you want.
Yeah, we can do that. That's okay. So let's start.
All right, let me just grab the information in front of me. It says here, high-level Iranian officials, including Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Foreign Minister Argachi, and central bank governors Hemati recently visited Doha. They talked with Qatar's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, and the discussions basically focused around release of frozen Iranian assets. Iran is demanding immediate access to about $12 billion held in Qatar as a precondition for preliminary memorandum of understanding between Qatar and Iran, and for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which is critical for Qatar as well. Qatar hosted the Iranian and US-linked talks. Basically, Iran and Qatar are making sideline deals. Qatar is obviously denying the fact that there was any talk of any money, and Iran obviously would like to see money, especially after the damage that has been done to them by strikes. And they're going to try and take any money they can out of any deal that they can get, even though it's strange that Qatar and Iran, Pakistan, all these countries are all basically collaborating in some or other way. So I think that it was done on the backdrop of trying to open the Strait of Hormuz, but I think this is just a cover story, basically.
Yeah, it's a little bit fishy what they were saying that they didn't pay the $12 billion to Iran. I don't even understand. Let me tell you, I don't trust Qatar. The Qataris have been funding universities for years in the US in order basically to make the people there, the students, cuckoo. We see the results now. So they're basically two-faced. Qatar is a two-faced country. It's a Muslim country. I wouldn't even trust them, They think, by the way, today is a very special day, if I didn't say so before. Today is the beginning of their Eid al-Adha, okay? And this is poor sheeps. Lots of sheep are going to be slaughtered, let me tell you. And this is the time that they go to do the Hajj, and you see people there all dressed in white, making people believe that they're okay, like the Qataris are wonderful and they're a good Muslim. Nothing of that is true. They're all basically going to that stupid pagan stone, having this pagan 7 times they're going around and around, thinking about the stone end of the times it's going to open its mouth. Anyway, so Qatar, back to the business. Qatar is playing a double game. On one hand, it basically is okay with the states, like saying, hey, we're going to do something good for you. Okay. In the meantime, who knows what goes on behind closed doors with Iran? We have to remember Iran, Qatar, everybody, even UAE, even UAE, Saudi Arabia, they're all Muslim countries. So what we saw today, I don't know if you didn't talk about it before, that President Trump, he put conditions. Did you read about this? He put conditions. He said to those Muslim countries, the Gulf countries, he said to them, I want you to join the Abraham Accords. I think he did this because he knows they're going to say no. He knows that. So he's like playing away their game. So then because I don't know which country of the Gulf countries, maybe two of them said that they're not going to sign until Gaza, has her own state. That was their condition. So this is what you do when you speak with Muslims. You have to understand they will never give you a definite answer. They will never say yes or no. They will say, no, we want this, we want that. But if things were reversed the other way around, okay, let's say they would ask Trump to do something, they would not get an answer like this from him. It's either yes or no in the Middle East. No gray areas. But they know that they're trying to fool people, especially that Trump has his representative, this Kushner and Witkoff, jokers, just jokers. I see Ram here. Hey, Ram. Ram, can you hear us?
Yes, give me a minute. My hand's wet right now.
Justin, do you want to read what Mujtaba said today?
Well, I think before we get there, I think one of the things that we need to obviously remind everyone that's listening is that America still has a lot of power in the region. They have withdrawn, I think, some of their refueling tankers, possibly for maintenance and this sort of thing, but they still maintain a very, very serious presence in the region. And as I'm aware, they're probably still bringing in more hardware. But I mean, Marco Rubio stated as well that the deal is basically, he said, what's happening there is unlawful. He said it's illegal, it's unsustainable for the world. It was totally unacceptable to the United States, and that they were pushing for this strait to be open. So even though there's talk from President Trump's side and making posts and saying that they're close to a deal, Marco Rubio is basically saying that the pressure is still on. So he's, although, like I said, although Trump is basically giving everybody a sense of ease and calm that the deal and the talks around the deal are basically proceeding, Marco Rubio is basically rebuffing him by saying to Iran and to everybody that the pressure is still right there, and that America understands this, and they're going to keep Iran's feet to the fire, so to say. And then, if you want to, we can go into Mujtaba's speech today, if you want.
Yes, please. Yes, I think it's very important because, people need to understand that the States is negotiating with people who want the States gone.
Well, that's the insane thing about all of this, is that America is sitting down in talks with Iran, with the Iranian delegation, and wanting to push for some kind of resolution there. But at the same time, you have the IOGC basically still in control there, still calling the shots, and they're making threats. They continue to make threats. Mujtaba basically said that, and I'll quote him, so, quote, "The hands of time will not turn back, and the nations and the lands of the region will no longer serve as shields for US bases. The United States not only will no longer have a safe haven for its mischief and for establishing military bases in the region, but day by day, it's growing more distant from its former status. The shaken Zionist regime and cancerous tumor of Israel." are likewise approaching the final stage of their wretched existence. They will not live to see 25 years after that date. So he mentioned this. This is the same kind of talking point that Khamenei had, where Khamenei was also saying that Israel will not see 25 years and they will be destroyed. We know that this will obviously never happen. But it's pretty crazy to see that the Americans are sitting down at this stage with these people and that they're still saying the same old claims. I mean, he rebuffed what he said today by saying that the slogan of death to America and death to Israel would remain the national cry of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So it'd be interesting to see how Trump or any of the American delegation respond to statements like that.
I want to also elaborate on what you said. He was referring about the 25 years. He was referring to his father's prediction. And when he said, God willing, down with America and down with Israel shall become the common chance of the Islamic Ummah, which is, this word is taken from Hebrew, by the way. Ummah means a nation. And the world's oppressed, especially among the youth. So that shows you, okay, who are the Iranians inside Iran are with.
100%. And like we mentioned in the previous, in the first part, a lot of people don't realize this. They think that there's a group of people that at any moment, if America and Israel act enough and they do enough in Iran, that there will be this rising up of people and that they will take over and Iran will become a moderate sort of democracy that is friendly with the West and everybody's going to live in peace. But I think that in reality, and maybe you can go into this, I know we discussed previously off the space about the gentleman that basically painted the story of what Iran looks like inside. And this was just after the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei. Maybe if you want to go into that on.
Yeah, this Iranian who doesn't live in Iran, but he has family there, wrote this on X on 20th of February 2026. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead. Let people hear it. Though.
Okay, very important. This is what I said. This is the reason. If you hear to somebody that from Iran knows what's in Iran, that the regime will never, be gotten out of it. By the way, you're hearing airplanes from here. I don't know if you can hear it. They're airplanes. Guys, today, certain brigade in Gaza destroyed 11 kilometers of tunnels, just to let you know. And everything, I didn't tell you, Justin, but we hear everything from here. You know that. You heard it once as well. So they destroyed underground tunnels in Bet Hanun. They located them and they destroyed them. So there is a upper Gaza and the lower Gaza. Amazing. Okay, so this guy, very famous on X, by the way, he wrote, Khamenei's dead, good, but I have family in Iran. My dad is there right now, and I'm not celebrating yet. Here's why. Iran built the most layered contingency plan on Earth for this exact moment. 4 levels of succession for every key position. Pre-authorized military strikes, regional commanders who don't need orders from Tehran to act. As you read this, there is already a new supreme leader. We just don't know who. This isn't Maduro. The government didn't get overthrown. The system absorbs the heat. That's what it was designed to do. Every credible intel assessment says the same thing. A post-Khamenei Iran is more likely to get harder, not softer, more RGC, more dangerous, potentially worse for the Iranian people than Khamenei himself. Don't breathe yet. There's a long way to go. That's what he wrote on February 2026. Any thoughts?
Well, I think we've come far from February 26th. I mean, we've had all the strikes, we've had preparations, we've seen a lot of hardware coming into the region, going out of the region. geopolitics is certainly playing a huge role. You know, we had the meetings with America and China. We have Cuba situation building at the moment. And these are all connected to each other. You know, as we mentioned before, you have this axis which exists, and that is between Russia, China, and Iran and Iran's proxies, and then, you know, obviously Venezuela was also in part of this. Cuba is part of it. So, you know, it's interesting because it's like pressure points. You touch one point and it builds pressure and relieves it in another place. And I think while the deals are on the go now, you see pressure building in Cuba, and obviously Russia will not be happy with this. China won't be happy with this. So you wonder how America is going to leverage all of the different scenarios, the balls that they're juggling at the moment. They definitely, I believe, have the upper hand in the long term, but I do think it's tricky. You know, I think that Americans have got to play obviously a crucial role in this to stabilize the world and to basically prevent the world from spinning out of control. Because I think that we are at a point which is seeing that the government of America having to deal with so many different crises all simultaneously. You know, they have the immigrant crisis. Europe has got this immigrant crisis. I know we didn't maybe plan to touch on this but it is part of all of this that's happening. You know, you have the Islamic invasion that's coming into Europe through immigration. America is starting to experience this quite drastically at the moment. And America's got a lot of things to juggle. They had Venezuela, the war in the Middle East, the oil of the world, and they've also got the immigration, like I mentioned, that they're dealing with. So I don't know. I have to basically ask the American people to remember all that's happening, and to, you know, appeal to their leaders, show their leaders support, especially Trump's administration at the moment, and tell them that it's not just what's happening in America that is going to affect them, but obviously the major developments that are happening around the world at the moment, especially related to the Middle East, that are going to be crucial for even America's future. You know, I think America's future hangs on what happens in the Middle East, because I think that if the Middle East spins out of control too much than what it already is, you may start landing up with wars in different regions. Maybe South Indo-Pacific might explode. You may have China attacking Taiwan. I think this is the reason for Trump's visit, basically, as previously mentioned, that there's a lot going on. I think these talks, if I can circle back to the talks themselves, I think that, you know, I think that the Iranians are being Iranians, very, very smart. They know how to negotiate. And I think Trump has basically met his match, because he loves to be the person that wins negotiations and deals. And I think the Iranians are the same, except where he comes to conclusions and makes the deals and signs them off, the Iranians know how to talk about the talks. So I think if Trump can just keep them coming back to the table, but then pressure them each and every time into a corner, eventually he might bring them to a point. But I think that the only thing that they will understand in the long term is potentially kinetic action. I think this is the only real solution, in my opinion.
Not his match.
Ram, what the media saying in the States? What can you tell us?
I'm not paying attention anymore. I'm not listening to this. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you the story. A Holocaust had just happened in Israel, on Israeli soil. The knee-jerk reaction from the Democrats, the first thing that Biden said and Kamala said, we will not allow Israel to take property, or to, as Bibi Netanyahu had had determined would be Israel's response or course of action. That the Gazans or what we call the Palestinians will not understand anything without a tangible loss of something. And in this case, it's loss of property, meaning that Gaza was going to be emptied of its inhabitants and Gaza would return to Israel.
In
And
a way,
that,
Gaza Ram belongs to Israel. According
right,
to international law, it belongs to Israel. Gaza was one of the 5 Philistine cities in the Bible.
right. Bibi said that, and immediately in America they
This is
responded.
the Bible said it. I'm talking about the Bible now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gaza is ours. I want to remind you what's his name, Biden, which I'm sure he wasn't the one in charge. It was Obama. We know that. For
Right.
I think 6 months. Well, after when we know October 7th, every time he said the famous don't. They didn't want us to go into Rafah because they knew what we were going to find in Rafah. We're gonna have right now as we speak. I can't tell you the number. We have so many soldiers there in Rafah. So many. I mean, this board of peace basically did nothing.
The rest of the story, by the way, hi Ariel, we missed you this morning. The rest of the story is that the Democrats in America obstructed Israel at every turn, made it that much more difficult for Israel, obstructed them at every corner, in everything, in every way. Even as Biden sat in Jerusalem with Netanyahu, with the armada offshore, all the ships that they sent, I knew to beware of Biden. So here comes Trump. Help is on the way, 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 all throughout before the inauguration. At the inauguration, Trump announces someone called Witkoff, who nobody has ever heard from or heard about. And he was going to send him to Qatar for a deal. That's the beginning of the duplicity. You go for a deal? A deal? This is a deal? Like it's some kind of business deal or real estate deal or whatever? A Holocaust has just happened. Unbelievable misunderstanding. Unbelievable misunderstanding of the situation. But then it turns out it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was intentional. It was duplicitous. That is what we are seeing happening today. Earlier you said, I don't know what you said, you said, you didn't say duplicity, you said something else with regards to the Arabs being two-faced.
Yeah, Qatar.
Yeah.
Two-faced policy, two-faced. They're
Right.
terrorists. Yes.
Yeah, the word you use, but I don't recall what it is. Anyway, duplicity is the thing, but the duplicity is from here. It's from them, not from them. We always knew. And to tie it all now with the Abraham Accords, this man is stupid. Abraham Accords is worth nothing to Israel. It's worth nothing to Israel. Israel gains nothing from Abraham Accords. The best that the Abraham Accords could do to Israel is that there's no animosity. That's enough. That's enough right there. With nothing more. Israel needs nothing more. all the financing of terrorism and financing of wars and all of that, that's where it stops. If it can achieve that, that's more than enough. Israel doesn't want the Arabs to love it. That is the story of how do you do this? How do you do this? Misunderstanding a situation so badly that you go for a deal, and a deal that involved some kind of unbelievable indignity of accepting a plane, indignity of taking Witkoff, who's in business, who's in bed with the Arabs, to take money from them for his projects. That's an indignity to this policy. So basically, in other words, Trump used Israel to benefit himself. And look at the obstructions that came. Board of Peace. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And all of this. Once, if you understand the things that happened around the situation, something called America First, something called whatever it was called, it wasn't to benefit Israel. What is America First? Who are these people that came in with Trump, with this ideation of America First? What was it about? The Tucker Carlsons, the Steve Bannons. These are Trump's people. What is their what does that mean, America First, from these people? Apparently, it means it's all against Israel. America First, meaning Israel has been, just like they say, Tucker now saying, and Steve Bannon before him, and Candace and all of these people, that Israel is controlling America, and Israel is this and that and the other thing. America First refers to somebody who's second or third or fourth. Who is that somebody? Apparently it's Israel. This is the duplicity. Israel set Iran back in its first attack. It hit them so hard they didn't see it coming, and they were scattering out of there. They was running out of there. The mullahs and the government people. They ended up in Canada and Europe and whatever. They were running out of there. This time when Trump hit them, no, they're there. They're prepared. They're sitting comfortable. No boots on the ground. Already you've announced that you're not defeating them. Already you've announced that you're half-hearted about this. This is what they see. If I'm barricaded if I'm occupying something and I'm barricaded and I'm comfortable and I'm in control, I've got the arms, I've got food and water and energy and all of that I have, I'm comfortable. What threatens me? What threatens me? 40,000 people in the streets, 1 million people in the streets. Who are they? Who are they? What are they going to do to me? Nothing. No boots on the ground. You announce this before you do any other thing, before any other action. And everything. It's like it's the man is an imbecile.
Ram, can I say something? I would like to refer to what you said.
Sure.
Let me tell you, I don't think it was a good idea. I don't think it is a good idea to put boots on the ground anywhere, especially in a foreign country, especially Iran. Because when you put boots on the ground, let me tell you, we know that of the hostility of the citizens. We know that 98% of them are Muslims. We know, okay, here, we know in Israel that the Muslims, will do anything, even if they lose their oil, they will do anything what it takes to hug Ireland as long as Americans are going to die. You have to understand this. So my guess, Trump doesn't want people to lose their lives. That's my guess.
Do you know who the boots on the ground already are?
I know.
It's the Iranian people. The Iranian people on the streets.
Yeah, but they did nothing. They did nothing, Ram. They
Right.
didn't go out and celebrate it.
So what was the strategy? What was the strategy?
The strategy, they thought,
From
Trump
ego,
and
man.
thought that the people there are against the regime. That's what I said on Sunday. They understood that day when they saw people on the bridge that that's it. The people are together with the regime. Try to think, because the day after that, everything was changed, and this is the deal, the deal, the deal. By the way, Abraham Accords, it's not going to happen, because those countries, the Gulf countries, Muslim countries, they will never admit that Israel, is basically as a whole, with Jerusalem as its capital. Abraham Accords is going to be just Oslo 2.0. It's a disaster for the state of Israel in the long run. And now, let me read from the news here, okay? Remember that we had ballistic rockets from, ballistic missiles from Iran? Remember that we had initial warning? So now, this is the new reality in the north, okay? Starting from today, I'm reading from the home front. Advanced warning of rocket and missile fire from Lebanon. And it goes like this. Then the preparation time provided by the advanced warning of the threat will be relatively short and will be depending on the distance from the source of the shooting. So on the confrontation line, about a few seconds before the alarm is activated. Do you think that really a few seconds is enough time to run for shelter? In the northern region, about up to 1 minute before the alarm is activated. And in other areas of the country, about 2 minutes, because we know that the missiles from Lebanon, like it did before, can reach even up here, very close to Gaza. So if there is something here, up north, maybe they have tops 1 minute to go to shelter. Maybe. So this is the new reality today that we're living in. I think that the Iranians are doing a war of attrition, that they're waiting until Trump is going to go away, and God help us all.
Yeah. I've said it before, maybe you've heard me. America is not the important country in the world. Western civilization has fallen, America included. It is Israel that is the heart of Western civilization. Israel must survive. Israel must survive.
We will. We will. Let me tell you, the minute something comes up from that place, even an atomic bomb or a chemical or whatever, we're used to it. Like during the Gulf War, trust me, I know that time. I've been there. We are trained for this. The minute something like this happens, Iran is going to be gone with the citizens there. But I fear for the states. The midterm elections are coming, and you will see that. You will see California is gone. Next will be Texas.
Which is why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's a foregone conclusion. They used to say that there's a connect, not a connect. There's a continuity from one government to the next. Continuity, and it doesn't matter that it's Republican or Democrat in American politics. That there's continuity to the story of America. Trump is a discontinuity. They opposed him. They didn't help him, but then again, he didn't help himself either, and he helped nobody. He's not helping anyone, not Taiwan, not Venezuela, he's not helping anything. He doesn't understand the situation. He's an ego guy. He's a man of ego, and everybody around him, including Rubio and all of those people, they are followers. They're not leaders. They're not leaders. They have the impression of leaders, but they're not. They're followers by the simple fact that they're in this administration without word. Rubio didn't protest anything. How does an American president say about Israel they don't know what the fuck they're doing? How does he do this? How does he do that? Make a long story short, it's not looking good. It's looking terrible. It's looking awful. One other time in history, in our recent time, in our lifetime, that the West has made unconscionable blunders of history. The first one was Hong Kong, how they surrendered freedom to communism. This has never happened before. They were singing in Hong Kong, they were singing the national anthem, the American national anthem, carrying our flags. We did nothing. We left those people. And the second time was 2009, Iran, when they finally rose up as a result of the war in Iraq, which Iraq was all about Iran. It wasn't about Iraq. It was only Iraq because it was doable militarily. It was easier. It was simple, easy. Already Iraq was weakened to the stage where there was no risk. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Listen, part of me, I'm always like try to see both sides of the coin, okay, of the story. Part of me says maybe, just maybe, a little maybe, that Trump does this as a trick to see, to tell Iran we did this and this and this, and you didn't even, basically agree to anything. We didn't about the Hormuz, about the nuclear, weapon, nothing about the uranium, the enriched uranium. So maybe this will help, to attack them. Maybe he's looking for a reason. I don't know. But as I see it now,
they've been saying this about Trump.
He doesn't know the language of the Middle East. Let's put it this way. The
They've
language
been
of the
saying
Middle
this
East
about
is
Trump. He's playing this chess and that chess and 10D and 5D chess, and he's smart and he's this way and that way, and he's really clever, and nobody's seen anything like Trump before in all of humanity. They've been playing this up for such a long time. And look at the results. Look at the results. You don't play with
Israel.
this. You don't play with strategy. You don't play with this for your ego.
Ram,
not
we were very.
to propose.
Ram, can you hear
How
me?
come he didn't bring Abraham Friedman back? The engineer of Abraham Accords. How come he didn't bring him back to the second administration?
Ram, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was saying here in Israel, when Trump got elected for the second time, we were so happy because we like Trump. I think he's the best president ever that the United States got to have lately, out of Obama, out of all the clots together. But I didn't like the fact that he said he wanted to attack. He said last week, he said, but several, and I quote, several countries, try to ask me to postpone the attack. And who are the countries? Let's talk about them. Okay, the Gulf Arab allies. Arab to me is a Muslim. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, they requested him not to attack, to postpone it until the end of May, this May. We'll see. In the meantime, we have here, and that's, I talked about the other time, that's from Sunday space. I mean, why did they put in the agreement Lebanon? Why? Why did they
How
put their
insane is that? How insane is that? What?
They actually want the people from south of Lebanon to come back again. No more yellow line. We also have yellow line, not just in Gaza, also in Lebanon as we speak. Okay, and we know that they fire drones, lots of drones today, also yesterday, nonstop.
What kind of attitude does Trump think he has to be subjecting Israel, like he owns Israel or something, to subject Israel to a situation like this? Are you crazy?
Our Bibi Benjamin Netanyahu, our prime minister, said that Israel is working that within 10 years we will not be dependent on the United States. Justin, you raised your hand.
Justin.
Thanks, Ram. Thanks, Ram. I think that the criticism, there is some legitimate criticism of President Trump, but I do think, like you mentioned, what was the alternate? The alternate was far, far worse. The world was getting into a very, very dangerous position with some of the other leaders that were put forward in America to vote for. And I think that while maybe he hasn't, he's done a lot, certainly. He has done a lot, but it's not finished.
Don't get me wrong. He was my guy too. I mean, he was my guy, but enough is enough. Enough is enough. This is not a joke. This is not a thing to be playing with the way that he does.
I think in the world that we live in today, I think that you're right. You're certainly right, Ram. I agree with you. It's disgusting to play with people's lives. I mean, people, you only have one life, So I understand this. And as far as Israel is concerned, I would prefer to see the day that Israel was basically able to stand without the help of any other nation. And I believe that they can actually do that. But that's my personal convictions. That's not maybe what other people might accept. But I'm fully convinced that Israel will basically stand forever, and it's not dependent on anyone's assistance. But as practical as the world looks at it, I agree that Israel should try to distance themselves, and they shouldn't have Europe making claims and telling them what they can and can't do and putting embargoes on Israel. I mean, but at the same time, again, I think that what would the world have looked like had we gone into 2020 under a different presidential candidate? Because even I just can't picture that world. What does that world look like? Without, I know we're talking geopolitics and the whole politics of everything, but you have things like the woke ideology and all this, which plays into the leftism. And certainly this is what Islam was using. I mean, they praised the fact that the West was basically crumbling from inside, that you couldn't tell a man from a woman, and you had to have your Supreme Courts trying to make rulings on these things. I mean, this is not the world that is going to defend anything and is going to advance forward. It will only regress and then destroy itself. So, but I do think that, I think people need to look at what's being done. I think the actions are going to speak louder than the words. I agree with Arm in the sense as well that maybe there is a casus belli already for America. I mean, they have more than enough cause to continue the war with Iran. But on a lighter positive note, just very, very briefly, I believe that the United States has already commenced escorting some of the oil tankers through the strait as of today. And apparently they're expecting to escort another 12 dozen or so, some of them bound for India with oil. And they're doing this under the original Project Freedom that was announced and then basically shortly stopped. So to see the resumption of that, it's a positive sign, because we know that the potential for Iran to attempt to strike or to try to retaliate against that escort of American ships you know, the potential is there. It's very likely in actual fact. And I don't think America will sit idly by. I do think that we're on a path that we will head from this talk into a kinetic situation and then potentially back to the table for another round of talks. But I hope that the Americans can continue to squeeze the Iranians and eventually come to a position where they leverage Iran and actually see what they want. You know, the outcome for which is best for Israel and which is best for the United States and the rest of the world.
Justin, I've lost interest. I've lost interest. I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out from this. And you say, what will the West look like? I'll tell you what the world would look like. You say the world is fixed for 100 years, a century or more. Leftism has dominated Europe, and the European Union was the last. The communism of the Soviet Union moved west, moved to Europe. What is the focus? What is their focus? What is their number one enemy? Israel. They have Islamized themselves because of the hate of Israel. They thought they were allying, making friends with enemies of Israel. This is how it happened. This is the story of Europe's downfall. This is the story. There's a reason for it, and this is it. There's no other reason. Same thing is happening in America. The fixation is on Jews and Israel again. This is what the world will look like. This is what the world looks like.
Sorry to be harsh, but all I have to do right now, you know, I've been through many countries in the world, many. Look what is going to happen to those Western European countries. Maybe then people will start to understand.
They're finished.
Until people,
They are finished.
Until people see, you know, I don't want to say it here because it's recorded, until people see it for their own eyes, what happens when you are, you know, being Islamized, they won't understand. People sometimes need to see things. Now, Trump, I'm reading from the news, Trump is expected to head to Camp David on Wednesday for an extraordinary security meeting with all cabinet members participating in the discussion. They're expected to participate in the sensitive discussion, including ongoing Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. This is according to the news. It's going to be interesting.
I just said it earlier this morning. The effect of Trump, he stuck a blade in Israel's throat and in all of our throats. He stuck a blade. We don't know whether to spit or swallow. I don't know if you know that reference. Do you?
Of course.
I don't know where I've heard that reference.
I know it. But listen, I just hope that the next, the coming election in the States, they will do the right thing. Because these elections are very crucial. Very, very crucial. You don't want to be, no country or no state in the States wants to be like New York, because New York is down already. It's gone. Yeah.
The writing is on the wall.
London, like Berlin.
The writing is on the wall.
Yeah. So guys, thank you. Ram, thank you very much. Justin, thank you as well. Thank you to all our listeners. And I will see you next time.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks,
Thank
Justin.
you.
Poppy.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you, everyone.